Hello everybody, welcome to the very first deck profile on the channel. I'm the Honest, and today I'll be showing you my Masked Hero deck. Now, just a heads up, this is the very budget build, where I say budget, mostly because I didn't really spend a lot on the deck, and also because literally most of the cards that are, well, the most expensive cards I traded for. So, yeah, I've been playing Masked Hero, Elemental Heroes as a whole, for as long as I played the game, actually, which was when I started playing when I was like 4, I think. So it's been about 13 years. Now I'm starting to get into when it's become competitive. So hey, there's that. So I figured this would be the most competitive build I can make of the deck. With the cards I have now. This deck will go through some revisions, and I will showcase those revisions as they come up. But anyways, let's get started. So starting off, we have the one Elemental Hero Stratos. 2018, rough year, but good year for Stratos, because they finally freed the homie Stratos. Woo! So yeah, we can only run one, which if you could run 3, obviously you'd run 3. But we're only run 1 because it's limited. If you don't know what his effect does, it's every time he's normal or special summoned, you get to search one hero card from your deck, or you get to destroy spell and traps on the field up to the number of other hero monsters on the field. Which is, hey, pretty good. And it's not even a once per turn, it's every time he's summoned. So that's good. Next up, we've got 1, 2, 3 copies of Vision Hero Vion. From what I've seen so far, researching on TCG Player, he's the most expensive card in the deck. Unfortunately, thankfully, I bought the first 2 when he was lower priced when he first came out, and I traded for the 3rd copy. He's basically your heart and soul. He's basically what lets you get most of your combos off in the deck. If you don't know what he does, when he's normal or special summoned, you get to send one hero from your deck to the graveyard. So he's kind of like a Foolish Burial. And you can also banish one hero card from your graveyard to get a polymerization either from your deck or your graveyard and add it to your hand. Very helpful. He's got his attack and defense points aren't all that great, but they don't need to be. You're not going to stay in him for long. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. If I could run 3, I'm not sure if I run 3, because it could be bricky, but at the same time, It's very. Sometimes I run into this issue. Yeah, English is not a language that is spoken in this household. Sometimes I run into the issue where I don't have another extra Shadow Mist. So if I'm gonna look for a 3rd one, probably just buy it. This card's only like I think $1.01 on TCG Player. What Shadow Mist does is that when it's special summoned, you can search out a change quick play spell card from your deck. So Mass Change the second, Form Change, any of the change cards. You know, if you feel like changing your mind. And when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to search out a hero monster from your deck. But you can only activate one of these effects per turn. So you have to pick either one. Alright, next card is 2 Elemental Hero Solid Soldier. I only bought one because I bought the Megaton. The other one I traded for. For a lot of people like myself, when we're budget players, what I recommend is do your best to try and find the cheapest version of the cards that you need in your deck. Like, I don't care much for rarity or like, oh hey, which card will give you the most, like, which one has the best shine to it. I don't care. Because the card effects don't change depending on, is it common, is it rare? My bad. Is it common, is it rare? It doesn't matter. As long as you have the cards. So I always go for the cheapest versions. So that way I can maximize the amount of cards I could possibly get. Or, what I do a lot is trade. When you go to your locals, find people to trade with. Anyone you can trade with them. They will be your best friends when it comes to getting some of the more expensive cards. Well, the only reason why this card's a bit more expensive because it's a promo card. If you don't know what Solid Soldier does, Solid Soldier basically when it's normal summon, you can special summon one level 4 or lower hero monster from your hand. And if he's sent to the graveyard by the effect of a spell card, you get to special summon one hero monster from your graveyard. Which, hey, that's very, very helpful. Alright, next up we've got 2 copies of Elemental Hero Bubble Man. I don't see a lot of people running Bubble Man in their decks, and I don't know why. He's a very solid card. A lot of times he's going to be the only card in your hand, so you can just get a free special summon on the board. Or sometimes I'll end up drawing into E-Emergency card, I'll have the top deck E-Emergency card. Special summon this, boom, an extra 2 hands. We actually get to use his secondary effect. Well, basically, if he's the only card in your hand or field, you get to draw 2 extra cards. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Elemental Hero Honesty Neos. He is by far one of your best cards in this deck because he gets to beef up on any of your monsters by 2,500. No one cares about his other effect where every time you discard a hero, he gains more attack points. No one cares about that card. He's essentially your extra hand trap. Well, I say hand trap, more like hand booster. Then we've got 2 copies of Summoner Monk. I don't run 3 because I feel like 3 is a bit bricky. 2 is just fine. Basically, what he does is when he's normal summoned, you get to automatically put him into defense mode, and then you can ditch 1 spell card from your hand to special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your deck. But that card can attack. But then again, you're not going to be attacking with that monster. He's just a way to get into your plays. And last but not least, we got 1 Goblinberg. I'd run more if I could. I'll have to look for some more Goblinberg. Basically, what he does is when he's normal summoned, you get to switch him to defense mode and special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand. The main point of this deck is to get as many special summons as possible. So, yeah. So that's it for the monster lineup. Let me just put this away and be very careful with these cards. Alright, that's it for the monster lineup. Now for the spells. We've got 3 copies of E-Emergency Call. Thankfully, this is still at 3. I don't know why they would ever limit it. But then again, they limited Hero Lives, so what do I know? Basically, the way to get all your searchers. Then we've got 1 in Hero Lives. If you open this up with Stratos, if you open up this card and special summon Stratos, you've pretty much got the best possible combo for your deck ever. I understand why it's limited to 1. I would have personally preferred to be limited to 2, be semi-limited, but hey, Konami, you do you. I'm just happy we got Stratos back. And then we got 1 reinforcement in the army. Basically, a way to get the majority of your deck. Literally, the only cards you can't search with that reinforcement in the army is Summoner Monk. And frankly, you don't really need to search Summoner Monk. All right, that's it for the searchers. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Mass Change. This is by far one of my favorite cards to play in this deck. Because it gets you access to your best fusion monsters. Well, technically false fusion monsters, because you don't really fuse anything together with them. Unless you're summoning Contrast Hero Chaos, but I'm not running Contrast Hero Chaos in this deck. It's very rare that you ever be able to summon him. So basically what this card does is you target 1 hero on your field, you send that to the graveyard, and if it manages to reach the graveyard by this card's effect, you get to special summon 1 masked hero from your deck. From your extra deck, as long as it matches the same attribute. So say if I sent Shadow Mr. Vion to the graveyard, I could summon Dark Law or Anki. And then we've got 1 Mass Change a second. It's best for you to run 4, just so you can see your masked heroes a lot more. Even though there's only 4 masked heroes in my extra deck, unfortunately. But this also lets you get rid of your dead Summoner Monks or dead Goblinbergs. Since by this card's effect, you discard 1 card from your hand, then you target 1 monster on the field, send it, and basically it's like Mass Change, but for generic monsters. So you get to use this on everything. The only cost is that you discard 1 card from your hand. That's it for our change cards. All right, now onto our fusion cards. We've got 2 copies of Polymerization. Everyone knows what Polymerization does. It's good because we've got quite a few fusion monsters in here. I wouldn't run 3 because I need to keep this deck as close to 40 cards as possible, and 2 works just fine. And then we've got 1 Miracle Fusion. I might change this out for the common version because this one's pretty beat up. It was only about 3 years ago that I started using sleeves. Cause I found out, I'm like, oh my god, I'm supposed to use sleeves. I never knew that. So this one's pretty beat up. I'll probably switch to the common version, which is in better condition, just so that way I don't run into any issues of, oh, hey, your card's too damaged to be played. But you know what? It's fine as it is. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. I don't have Twin Twister, but Mystical Space Typhoon works just fine. You can also run Cosmic Cyclone, or... yeah, is that the name of the card? Yeah, whatever. But Mystical Space Typhoon works just fine, and it's pretty reliable, I would say. And then for by far one of your best cards to use because of the current format, 2 copies of Scapegoat. I know it's a bit odd seeing Scapegoat in a hero deck, but we do have a Link monster that requires 3 tributes. And this is also just in case, say your board was cleared. All you got is this, play Scapegoat. You can at least save yourself from 4 attacks. So hey, that's helpful. Only 2. You would only ever need 2, and it also kind of helps that it was semi-limited. So hey. Then for our 2 1-ups, we've got Swords of Revealing Light. Buy yourself some time and negate Crawlers, which isn't that much of a threat. But hey, Ghost Tricks, Crawlers, Flip Effect decks won't be able to activate their effects. So hey, for 3 turns, just in case you need time to buy some time. And then last but not least, we got 1 Book of Moon. I know people usually run like Book of Eclipse or something like that, but I prefer Book of Moon, just because it's for like, say if you're going during the battle phase, just keep that flip down. That's it for our spells. Now on for our traps. We've got 2 copies of Solemn Strike. Thankfully, this has been reprinted multiple times, so I was able to buy these 2 cards, both copies, for about, if I remember correctly, it was only like $8 for both. Like in total, like not $8 each. It was just $8. It was like $4 each. This card is very helpful in making sure you get rid of a lot of potential board wipes, or not board wipes. When they just swarm the field essentially, and it's also pretty much the most expensive trap you have in this build. I have in this build anyways. Since I don't have evenly matched or any of those expensive cards, because they're like $60 each now. Yeah, $60 for pieces of paper. Then for our 1-ofs, we've got 1 Fiendish Chain. This card, I'm surprised not a lot of people running it, and I know it targets, but it also negates effects when it does land on a card, so hey, you can get rid of some Link monsters. Call the Haunted, just so we can recycle our heroes, get some more cards, or in case, some stuff happens and you need a little bit of help. 1 copy of Mirror Force. I don't really see people use the regular Mirror Force. Most of the time it's Storming Mirror Force, but I don't have Storming Mirror Force, so I'll go with the classic Mirror Force. And it has helped a few times. I say a few times, but it was mostly at this old local they used to have at the library I went to. But that one hasn't been active for a while. And last but not least, we've got 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. Very useful in getting rid of some Link monsters that you would otherwise not want on the board, or if you're just really waiting for an opportune moment to spring this on them. All right, that's it for the main deck. Let's go on to the extra deck. We've got 1 copy of Masked Hero Darklaw. When I get a second one, I will put a second one here, because it is, while running 1 is fine, there are some times where I do wish I had a second Darklaw. So I understand a lot of builds when they run 2 Darklaw, because he is by far your Macrocosmos on legs. Next up, we've got Masked Hero Blast for your Stratos now. And he's fine in his own right. He's basically a Great Tornado, except he's easier to summon. Then we've got 1 Masked Hero Anki. Very good for getting more of your change cards into your hand, and he can attack directly. He's a 2800 beat stick, so hey, he's got one of the highest attack points in our extra deck. Then we've got Masked Hero Diane. Thankfully, we don't have to run Woodsman anymore, or Clayman, in order to get this guy out. And its effect is pretty good. When it destroys a monster by battle, you get to special summon a level 4 or lower hero monster from your deck. Which, hey, get some more Stratos or Shadow Mist. That's it for our Masked Heroes. Now for our fusions, we've got Elemental Hero Escuradero. He's probably the one I'm probably going to substitute out for another Dark Law, but for now he works just fine because you've got a couple Dark Monsters in here. And hey, when you're going against a Layer of Darkness deck, all your Elemental Heroes are going to be dark, so hey, he's pretty useful. He gains 100 attack points for every hero in your graveyard. Next up, we've got Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. By far one of the coolest, pun intended, cards in your deck, extra deck. When he leaves the field, he destroys all monsters on your opponent's side of the field, which is good for getting rid of some of those pesky Link monsters, so you can tribute him for a Link monster. So that way you can get rid of all your opponent's cards. Then we've got Elemental Hero Core. His ability is pretty good, doubles his attack points if he's attacked. He gets to bring back your Escuradero and Absolute Zero, so that's pretty neat. That's it for our Elemental Hero fusions. Now on to our Vision Hero fusions. We've got one Adoration. Adoration is very helpful for trying to get over big monsters when you have another hero on the board. So say if you're fighting, I don't know, Blue Eyes deck, you can't really get over that. Let's just say Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon. And you've got, you've got Vision Hero Vion on the board. You pretty much just target your Vision Hero Vion, and then Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon loses 1,000 attack points because that's the same amount of attack points as Vion. Then you can just swing over him. So hey, that's pretty good. And then we've got Vision Hero Trinity. When I do make this card, it does make a difference, but sometimes it does get disrupted. But I feel like it's worth it running Vision Hero Trinity. In case you don't want to use 3 heroes to summon Core, you can use it to summon Trinity. When Trinity summoned, his attack points are automatically doubled to 5,000. He can attack 3 times, although he can't attack directly. But it can lead to massive damage if you do manage to play it right, and your opponent you combo that off with Mystical Space Typhoon, so your opponent doesn't have any back row. All right, that's it for our hero fusions. Now on to the one last fusion we play in this deck, which is Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Haven't really got a chance to play to really see how this does in a local tournament, but when I practiced this against some of my friends, it was very helpful in copying some effects, and it does gain attack points equal to some special summon monsters. Say if your opponent's got, well, for example, again, Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon on the field, he'll automatically gain 3,000 attack points, and you can also copy other monsters' abilities. So you don't need to worry about like Isdold or something or other cards. Well, level 5, so any monsters that have levels. So you can possibly think of it like Alternative White Dragon's ability. You can just use his own ability to destroy that. So that's pretty helpful. All right, now to our Xyz cards. We've got one Heroic Champion Excalibur. Excalibur is pretty good. Is pretty helpful in getting over big monsters. He's essentially He's essentially the cheaper version of Utopia the Lightning. Then we've got Gagaga Cowboy. Gagaga Cowboy is pretty good for some OTKs that you can do with this deck if the conditions are met. Because I have OTK'd some friends, but usually they'll be down to like 200 life points. That's when I'll summon Gagaga Cowboy and activate his effect to just burn them for 500. So that works out just fine. And our last Xyz monster is Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is pretty good for getting rid of graveyard effects. So hey, you could stop Burning Abyss, you could stop Altergeist, or some of those other meta decks that are out recent now. Alright, and now on to the last 2 cards, our Link monsters. We've got one Extra Hero Wonder Driver. This guy, I was so grateful they made an extra a Link Hero monster, because now this is targetable by Mass Change, by a bunch of other cards, and it's, well, I'd say targetable, but we don't have Koga in this deck. We don't really need Koga. His ability is basically when you special summon a hero monster to his Link, when you special summon to his Link arrow, so say if you've got Absolute Zero right there, he'll automatically get a Polymerization, a Fusion card, or Change Quick Play spell card from your graveyard. And you get to automatically set it. And if he's destroyed by, well, here you can see his effect right here. If he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if he's destroyed by a card effect, we can automatically special summon one hero monster from our hand. And he's a link too, so it's only 2 heroes, which very helpful, very helpful. And our last link monster is Decode Talker. Decode Talker is a pretty solid link 3. A good combo you could run is, say you have your extra hero and Absolute Zero on the board. You then tribute both of them to summon Decode Talker, and then you automatically get Absolute Zero's ability, which then clears the way for Decode Talker to just inflict 2300 directly. And it's pretty good. We get 2 link arrows instead of 1. So it's helpful. I mean, unfortunately, we do get an arrow towards our opponent, but let's face it, in the current meta, a lot of people aren't going to be using your own link zones because they'll be more concerned with getting off their combos, going through as many link monsters as possible. But you know what? It's pretty solid on its own. It can negate targeting effects. So hey, that's pretty good. Alrighty then, that will be the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a comment on your suggestions. And I'll see you guys in the next profile. See you guys next time.